My name is Stephen Urcantello, founder and lead investigator of Superior Paranormal. My first encounter with spirits occurred when I was a teenager living in Fort Myers, Florida. As of recent, I've decided to fully dedicate myself to the paranormal, uncovering a passion within that I now breathe, sleep, and live for. Not only am I here to share my stories from personal experiences and documented experiences, but also to hear, share, and understand your encounters, adventures, and paranormal events. So follow me as we discuss theories, opinions, facts, and the experiences of others as they share their superior paranormal events.
Cameras, everything. It's just, to me, if you think about it, it's an impersonal way to do it. And these spirits, to me, will not respond as well. Because I've seen it happen many times. I've seen many paranormal groups go into a location and right off the bat, all their high-tech equipments and their 15 buckets of, I don't even know what it is. I'm not downing you. Because I just seen it happen not too long ago. If that's the way you want to do it. But then when you don't get anything on that, you're going to try to call the place not haunted. It's not that it's not haunted. It just didn't want to respond to you.
Exactly, because a lot of these people don't understand that just because they're spirits doesn't mean that they were not human to begin with. We just have a vessel that we're using right now. These spirits just have no vessel. So really, if you go into a location with all this equipment, all this just, full blown right out, what if these spirits are shy? What if they were shy as, with their human vessel? Then they're going to be shy in the afterlife. So they're not just going to run up to you and be like, hey, here I am, let's have a conversation. So right. It is kind of great, like if you just go in there and almost in a meditation type way and just absorb the energy of the house, be one with that environment, and then those spirits are going to come to you because you're settling with them. You're becoming part of what they are now.
Right. Exactly.
And I heard you say while you were talking about how you do the investigations and when you first started, how you were saying, somebody make a knock for me, somebody, what's your name, doing all that. I've also noticed within the paranormal, and I think that it would really elevate this field a lot if, and I'm not knocking anybody, I'm not doing anything like that. I just think if people kind of pushed the questions a little bit harder, as to what happens when you die, why are you still here? Really in-depth questions for us to get real answers rather than just what's your name, just like the last investigator did at that location and the investigator before that and before that and before that. It's almost kind of like these investigators just want validation for themselves that, Sarah is in this building, rather than really questioning what happens after your soul leaves your body. And I don't ever expect a ghost to really, or a spirit, to have a huge conversation like me and you are having right now. But I do think that they can be more defined questions to get more defined answers in order to build a story. Do you kind of agree?
Absolutely. I totally agree with you.
Good. Awesome. So can you tell us, I know that it was about a couple months ago, I know you asked me to be involved with an event September that's going to be at a place in Indiana, Willow's Weep, I believe it's called.
Yes.
Okay, what exactly is that again? Is it going to be a convention? Is it just going to be a meet and greet? What exactly is that going to be?
I was going to maybe change it up a tad bit, this year, but I'm actually going to start really hardcore planning it after the first of the year. I was waiting until after Christmas, but it is a free event September. You can go on my page to Amy Jo, and you can find out all the details. But last year we did have some guest speakers, which started about 1, and then every hour on the hour we had guest speakers meet in the barn. There's a barn area for all of them to meet. And it was a great turnout. I'm going to tell you, it was and I didn't reach out to any teams.
Mm-hmm.
This was me that hosted this event last year, and I did not reach out to any teams. Every single team came to me. This year, I plan on reaching out to teams. I want people, I want teams, I want radio shows, I want everyone there. I want us all to come together, and I know not everyone is going to be, all getting along. But you know what? Put on your game face for your event. Come to an event, share stories. That's what it's about. You don't see too many events anymore where people are going around each table and actually stopping, talking about equipment, talking about investigations. Usually people just stand there like, oh, look at me. I'm a paranormal investigator. Woo,
Right.
And stand there with their arms all
They try to segregate
big.
them. They really do.
It is. I mean, I go to so many like that. And I'm not, saying mine's completely different, but I'm going to tell you, I had more people tell me that was one of the most paranormal love felt events that has happened in a long time. Because that is exactly what happened at my event. You would go around to each table. You would see people, talking about equipment, sharing stories. There wasn't any nastiness there. It was raw, wonderful, good, great time. There was drawings, door prizes. I did learn a couple things, because last year was my first actual time. I've helped with the event the other 2 years, but I actually completely 100% did everything last year, all by myself. I'm actually going to be asking for more help this year because it was a big thing for me. It just took a lot of time. But like I said, this year I will be reaching out to groups, and I'm going to try. We've got 3 acres of land that we can fill, so I want to try to fill it up completely. That's my goal for this year.
Is there going to be an investigation that night too? You may have said that already.
Yes.
At Willow's Weep during that time.
Yes, there will be, and it's in Eugene, Indiana. For those of you that don't know where it's at, it is kind of in the middle of nowhere, which is also why so many people showing up to this. We really we're not expecting that as many people to show up that did. I mean, for it being in the middle of nowhere, it had a great turnout. But it's not too far from Indy. It's about an hour and a half from Indianapolis. So there will be an investigation. Last year, I sold tickets ahead of time, and that's how it's going to work this time. There's going to be a certain amount of tickets that can be sold for that investigation. After those tickets are sold, there won't be any more. Those will go on sale after January. I will be, posting that on my like page too. So last year we started out with 7 people, just so you guys know. Willow's Weep is nothing to mess around with. It's probably one of the most crazy places you'll go. And if you have not been there before, just keep that in mind. I had 7 people pay for tickets, showed up with me. And then I had a couple people stay after and help me with the investigation. After 2 hours, all 7 of them were done.
After 2 hours?
One of them wanted to go home because either they knew that spirits were real and they didn't want to have anything to do with it, because there were some new people that had never been on investigation, some of those 7 people.
Mm-hmm.
And the people that were experienced were like, okay, yeah, I don't need to stay. That's enough. I mean, literally just in 2 hours, that whole house lit up. I do not know. I don't know if it's because that was the most people that had ever been there at one time and the location didn't like it. But I'm telling you, it was crazy active. And that house does have a history of suicides and depression. And for whatever reason, even though I had the time of my life at the event, I mean, I smiled. My face hurt so much from smiling because I literally had the time of my life at that event. By the time the next day came and I headed home, I literally cried all the way home.
Why'd you cry?
It's a 3.5-hour drive, and I cried every bit of it. Just because the house was so draining. It was so active.
So is there a graveyard buried underneath the house too?
It's not a graveyard, it's a family plot.
Okay, so is there anybody buried there, or
Yeah,
nobody's buried? There is families buried there.
Yes, a family buried.
So that definitely makes it a little more interesting to be haunted as well.
Yes, and the man who built it in the 1800s was superstitious, and he didn't want any corners in the house, so there's no corners, and he has a room with no entrance and no exit.
That doesn't make any sense, but interesting. So
the only way you can get in is through the window outside. The ladder.
Do people go in through the window?
Well, they try, but then the ladder falls. So,
Oh, that's going to be exciting to try that.
and there's a haunted tree out front,
Is
which
that
is
would that be the
cursed. Yeah.
that would be the willow, right?
Yes, and it's supposedly cursed. And if you touch the tree, there's been a lot of people that's had accidents on the way home after touching the tree. You know, there's a lot of things. I touch it every time, and I'm still alive as of now.
See, that's awesome because I know, like, when you mentioned that before, I want to cut part of the tree off and actually wear it around my neck while we go investigate
Oh my god!
as I'm climbing up the ladder.
Oh my goodness!
Um, you know,
The last time I was there, we got a selfie stick and stuck a camera up there
hmm
just to see what was inside that room. We didn't want to get a ladder. We were scared, it was going to fall. We don't really want to take that much of a chance with our life. Although we do take chances, but we just weren't willing to
you
take
touched
that.
the cursed tree. That's a big
Well,
tree.
yeah, but I don't believe in curses really. So, anyways, I take it up there and I look in the window and we see a spirit kind of looking, like peeking out behind like a wood piece up
Mhm.
there. So we actually got that on video.
Is there furniture up there, or no? It's just an empty.
No, it's just like a whole bunch of shredded wood.
Okay. Okay.
That's
Okay.
it. That's all that's up there. So it doesn't have anything in it.
So we're gonna change the subject real quick because I've noticed on Facebook that you have been posting a lot of wigs lately. You've been really interested in shopping for wigs, blue wigs, and all this, and you're gonna start wearing. What's the wig situation even about for everybody that doesn't even know? Because I'm curious too. So
Okay, really? It's just me being me. I always have something. Like I used to have tutus that I would wear. And I like to switch things up. I just want it to be fun. That's just me. I'll find something fun to do. I actually did have a purpose for tutus. It was because a lot of the locations we went to did not have bathrooms. And I didn't want to show my butt to people. So I would just, leave the tutu on and pull my pants down and go to the bathroom. And
oh yeah,
sometimes the guys would borrow them
I bet
too. They weren't ashamed.
I bet the viewers, have a nice little visual on that. That's good.
Well, it's true.
Probably it's easier. So do you not wear the tutus no more then? You've upgraded to the
Well,
wigs?
here's the thing. I do have a pink one that I will occasionally put on. But other than that, no, I really don't that much because I don't know. I guess either I don't really care about showing my butt as much, or I don't know. I just don't care. So I really don't wear them all the time now. But I just, like I said, I'll do different things. And the wigs is just something fun for me. I have a certain style. Anybody that's known me, for any period of time over this 5.5 years that I've been investigating, I cut my clothes up. I'm just nothing about me is like anybody else. I really don't like to be like other people. So I really thought the wigs, they were on sale at the mall, and I tried one on. Absolutely loved it. I said, I'm wearing this. And then I got such a response from the blue wig
Mm-hmm.
that everybody was like, oh my God, maybe you should do a different one every week. And I was like, this is a good idea.
A
So,
trendsetter.
yeah, and I still have not decided what color I'm going to wear this
You
next
flip a
week.
coin, let fate take its chance. Put a bunch of colors in a hat, and then reach in and grab it.
I know. I was thinking about doing pure white. So you just never know, though. You'll find out this Saturday because there'll be pictures and we'll be posting. But yeah, I just haven't decided yet. But it's just for fun. I like to switch things up. I like to make things fun. And you should have seen the people at gas stations and stoplights with me with that wig on. Everybody loved it. I mean, and I've always been one of those people that if I like it, I wear it. I don't care what anyone else thinks. It's what I do. It's who I am. And if you don't like it, turn your head or keep staring at me and I'll smile at you and wave.
Super awesome. So I have to ask also, what is the story behind the Batgirl? The obsession with the whole Batgirl, Batman, Batgirl, Amy Jo. What is that? How did that come?
Okay, so it all started with a Batman tutu.
Okay.
I went to a convention 3 years ago, Days of the Dead in Indy, and I got a Batman tutu. Absolutely loved it. I got a Batman shirt. I've always loved Batman. I've loved bats for 5.5 years, ever since I investigated Mansfield Reformatory. We were eating pizza. We looked up in the ceiling, and literally there was a bat hanging from the ceiling. I got up there right by its face, took its picture, talked to it, everything. It didn't even move. I fell in love with bats that day, and like I said, so from there, from meeting that bat and having that experience with that bat, I wanted the Batman tutu. So when I wear that, I got so much response. It's just like with the blue wig that I've got this time. Everybody went crazy on, oh my God, Batman. I love that Batman tutu. I mean, everyone. When I was walking around Days of Dead, I had random people I never met coming up to me saying, I love your outfit. I love your outfit. I was like, wow, so I mean, because that's just me. I'm used to, getting that kind of responses. But I was just like, okay, this is fun. So it just kind of escalated. And then everybody wants to share everything Batman with me in the
So,
whole wide world. I get gifts all the time.
so how does a Batman tutu look? Do you still have this Batman tutu?
I actually had to give it away because it doesn't fit me anymore.
Do you have any pictures of you in this Batman
Yes,
tutu?
yes, I
Are
have
you going to
pictures.
be able to post them right after this show?
Yes, it's actually one of my profile pictures.
Oh, is it? Is it the? I'm assuming
That was at my birthday investigation, but it
black
just
and yellow.
and I have a smaller one. My friend just handmade me because I've lost weight, so it just didn't fit me. It fell right off, so I gave it to my best friend. So she has it now. But it was my favorite. It actually had the big Batman logo. But anyway, so I don't know exactly at what point people started calling me Batgirl, but since I love bats so much, I have bat tattoos on me. I'm actually going to once I get my own apartment here soon, I'm going to start helping rehabilitate bats. I've actually got people that are, I think it's about 45 minutes away. I'm going to actually start helping take care of them and, things like that. I'm just in love with bats. They're amazing creatures. They just fascinate me. So people just kind of went from Batman to calling me Batgirl. I didn't really, say, hey, I'm Batgirl. They kind of named me. People named me.
It's always good when people give you a nickname that you can relate to.
Exactly. Yes.
Plus, I have a question
Yes.
from a Facebook individual. This question is from Darby. It says, "What is to come for Amy Jo?" So I'm assuming she wants to know what do you see is in store in the future for Amy?
Usually I can tell you what I'm going to do next month and next year. I've always got a plan. This is the first time in my life with all these changes that I've been through lately where I really don't know what's in store. I can tell you that it's going to be completely different than the last 5.5 years, though, because I'm going to be a completely different person. So I would just say pay attention, watch, and you're going to love it.
Awesome. So there's some people wondering actually if you're going to be in the chat room or not. Are you in the chat room right now?
I am not.
Are you
No.
able to access the chat room, or is Skype on your phone right now and it's kind of difficult to do?
So they want me in the chat?
Yeah.
Or they just wanted to ask a question?
They're just asking if you're going to be in the chat room or not, if you're able to.
Oh, yeah.
I guess that's a maybe possibility.
Yeah, let me see if I can.
Okay, because I know that sometimes, doing it through this way, you have to have a lot of devices open, so it's hard to really get on there and do it. So can you tell everybody that's listening right now possibly what your most intense and most memorable investigation moment ever was? Not necessarily the location, but just the moment that pops out that you've had.
Yeah, and now if you would have asked me this a while ago, I would have easily told you the time at Willow's Weep where footsteps, charged me. But since then, I have learned that I can actually call spirits or figures without legs out of the wall. So I would have to say it would be the day where, at the meet and greet, actually, in September last year, or this year, I was standing in the middle of the room, and I just literally decided I was going to try to call all those little things out of the walls with no legs. There's these, I say things because I don't know what they are. They could be crawlers. They could be spirits. I do not understand why they only have torsos and arms and heads. They don't have any legs. And I realized that I can call them all out of the wall, and when they did start coming out, they actually grabbed some of the people that was in the group with me. I stuck my hand out into one because I felt it, and literally it felt like my hand fell asleep instantly, like little tiny needles all over my hand. And I really had never experienced that before. I have never felt energy like that. Not where it almost made my whole arm just go completely numb.
Yeah,
With
that's pretty wild, actually. That actually, so that's almost like just pure energy, just grabbing you and just
exactly.
absorbing you. That's.
Now, I can't understand why those crawlers never grab me because that is the honest truth. They have never grabbed me.
Hmm.
But whenever I am in the middle of the room calling them out, they grab people that are around me.
Hmm.
Like they even actually jabbed at one of my friends in the side. And, he was actually hurt. So, not horribly bad. He was hurt enough to say, hey, that's, above where I want you to hurt me. Like, that's above my comfort zone. You are not going to do that again. So, I would have to say that. That was definitely, I mean, because here's the thing. I found out I could do that. I found out I could call spirits out of the wall. What do I do now that I know I can do this? Is
Hmm.
that good? Is it bad? I had all these questions, and I took another group right after that group. I took another group in and did the exact same thing, and sure enough, same exact thing happened.
Got poked and everything else, like
They
the
got
same
grabbed, poked.
situation.
Yep,
Interesting. So Willow's Weep is the spot.
it really is. I mean, and I know people that go there and they don't get anything. I've met people at conventions, and I'll go around and I'll tell people, they'll say, "What's the most active location you've been to?" And to be honest with you, I don't have a running total of how many locations I've been to. I really would love to do that sometimes. Sit down and write down every location. I'm guessing, well over 100. But I said yes, absolutely. Willow's Weep is the one place that I can go. And I don't ever have to. I could lay in the middle of the floor and something will happen to me. I don't have to demand anything. I do notice that sometimes, since I do public events there are some people that show up that the house will not respond to at all.
Hmm.
And last time I was there, it actually took that person leaving the house before the house ever did anything. And I don't understand how that is. I don't understand why, it chooses who. I don't know if this person has a block, if they weren't open-minded enough. I don't know if they had some kind of religious block. I can only speculate because I really don't know, which
Hmm.
really does raise questions to me. Why will they not respond to certain people? Why? Because that house was dead, literally, for like 3 hours while that lady was there. She left saying this house isn't even haunted. The minute she walked out the door, I promise you, I was actually laying down by the fire. As soon as that lady walked out, I knew she was a block. I stood right up. I said, let's go in the house, guys. It's time to investigate. As soon as I said that, 4 people went with me saying, let's go. Already like, yeah, right, this girl's crazy. As soon as we walked in that house, completely different house. I knew it with everything in me. I don't have to question anything at that house. I know exactly what it wants. I know exactly what to do to get it to respond. It's weird. It's like we are connected. Me and that house just have some kind of connection. So, I was right. As soon as we went in that house, everybody was like, holy crap, this house is not the same house that it was. And it wasn't. It's just weird. I can't explain it. But
Well, for everyone tuning in right now on KHTA, we're here with Amy, Joe, Ghostbox Chick, and Batgirl, as she likes to be called, I guess, and everyone named her. We're talking about Willow's Weep. And I was just going to say about Willow's Weep, it's probably because you've been there so many times. And like you said previously, about 30 minutes ago, how when you go into an investigation, you like to feel the energy of the location before you just bust out everything and start hitting it hard with the camera here, this, do this, put the EMF here, and digital voice recorders everywhere. You like to go in there and feel the energy. So that house is also, more of a respecting you as well on how you do things because you respect the house and you feel the energy there. So, of course, you kind of run the whole situation. It's kind of what
right.
it sounds like.
Yeah, and it just kills me when people, like when I go to conventions and people say, I've been there and that house isn't even haunted. And I'm like, well, what'd you do? And they'll tell me, well, we had our equipment running all night and we sat there and waited for things to happen. Tried to ask for Curtis and blah, 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 blah.
And that's why, yeah, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
That's why.
I mean, I was just telling them, next time you go there, try a different approach. And they just look at me like, whatever. We've been there 5 times. There's nothing going on. We're not going back,
Mm-hmm.
So, and then I go and all this stuff happens and people think she's crazy. But those people that are with me when I go for these events or people that just want to meet me at the house, sometimes we do that. Just friends want to meet me there. It's 3.5 hour drive and I make that drive without hesitation. That's the one location I will go to anytime anytime. Anytime anybody wants to meet me there, just let me know. I'll meet you there.
I'm on my way.
And that's what I was going to ask you.
Yeah,
So, because you're going to be investigating there next year, right?
correct.
What, I don't know if you've thought very much about the house or not, but what is something that you would like to try there after everything that you know that I've told you about that location?
And I have to be honest on air right now.
Right?
Um,
Or no, you could just you don't have to elaborate completely. You can elaborate as much as you want. I was just kind
uh,
of curious what you had planned for when you go there.
what I had planned, okay. Whenever I go into the location, I kind of do what you do too. I don't just break out the cameras and whatnot. So I'll go in there and I'll sit down, probably right in the middle of the floor, or on the chair that I noticed where the Curtis, I believe his name was, that killed himself.
Yes.
In the chair where supposedly the blood stains are still at in the chair. So I'll probably sit there, close my eyes, just focus for about 15, 20 minutes, maybe a little bit longer, and really just see what comes to me. Because whenever I do that in a location in pitch blackness, total darkness, and you close your eyes, I tend to see colored images will eventually come to you. Now, it could be your own subconscious mind, it could be whatever happening, but I like to just feed into those images that I see, especially in a haunted location, because they become relevant later on within the location that I've noticed. So that's one thing how I start to do it, and that's probably how I'll begin to do it. You threw me off guard with this question, but thank you.
Sorry, I
So
didn't mean to. I
uh,
just was really curious what your plan was.
it's okay. So probably do that. Now I don't use that much equipment either. But I do use a little bit more than just my body. I usually just set up the cameras. I have a spirit box or ghost box, digital voice recorders, the full spectrum cameras, and an Ovilus 3. Now that's all I use instead of the millimeters and the I don't even know what the other equipment is because I just don't use it. So that's what I'll wind up setting up with and using. And then as well as a Ouija board, which I know can be a little controversial. Some people don't like it. Some people says it does evil. Some people say it doesn't. But really, it hasn't really proved anything quite yet. Although I did end up in the hospital this year, actually, when I was doing an investigation in Tennessee. So I can see it possibly causing evil. But I'll definitely use a Ouija board and then probably put that on the chair where the guy killed himself. I'll bring a bunch of pills because didn't his wife or mistress or whoever OD'd on pills, correct?
Right.
So I'll probably bring a bunch of pills, probably just my sleeping pills, nothing, no Xanax or no, whatever, no illegal drugs. Throw those out on the floor, kind of just use them as trigger objects. And that's really about it. I mean, I have a lot of other things that I want to try out. I just don't want to give too much now because it is going to air on the network that I film for. So I don't really want to say too much, but it will definitely be an experience. It's not going to really be provoking. It's not going to really be too much like that. Just a lot of trigger objects and a lot of reenactments, I guess you could say. Maybe possibly opening something up a little bit more just to see if all that dark energy can come out. I'm not trying to send it away. I'm not trying to do anything like that. I don't cleanse houses. I don't even cleanse myself. I just like to get it to come out. But you say that you can do that without all that, so we'll probably just use you as that trigger object and, go from there and see what kind of happens. That's really how I'll go about it. Just stay all night, possibly sleep there, maybe spend all weekend there. I think that would be great to stay all weekend, actually.
Yeah, that would be cool. I've never stayed all weekend. Usually one night in that house, and I'm completely drained of all energy for the entire weekend. So I cannot imagine me staying all weekend there, what I will be like, because one night there is like 15 investigations at a normal place. I'm not even kidding you. If I get so much activity at Willis Weep, and I try the next day to even walk to the bathroom, sometimes that is all I can do. I mean, I am literally drained of every single bit of energy that I have in my entire body. And for about the next week, I am very sad and depressed. So
And
it affects me. It really does.
I hate that feeling after an investigation. And usually that happens at more, I wouldn't say darker investigations, but places where people have done suicide. I've noticed whenever I leave a location that way, I become really sad and depressed.
Yes, I actually had to snap myself out of going into traffic one day. And that's when I realized, you know what?
Leaving Willow's Wheat?
Yeah, I left Willow's Weep, and it was the next day. The next day, Sunday, I stayed home in bed all day. I couldn't walk. Like every time I tried to walk, it was like I got ran over by a truck. So I couldn't stop crying. Regardless, I wasn't too happy in my life, but still, it was uncontrollable crying, like I was a lunatic. Anyway, so I get in the car and head to work, just like always. I'm coming up to an intersection, and I actually fantasize about pressing on the gas and going right through. And at that moment, I snapped myself out of it, like literally had to smack myself. Slowed down the car, and then I heard a little kid laugh in my ear, in the back, from the back seat. Just a little giggle, but it was enough to creep me out.
That's kid. You know, ghost children creep me out regardless. I don't care. And you know what it is? I think it's from. Actually, this never even existed before, but I think I created it. I've always imagined camping in the middle of the woods and a bunch of kids circling the tent and just singing creepy nursery rhymes like Ring Around the Rosie and laughing and shaking the tent. To me, that just scares the living daylights out of me. I don't know why.
Yeah, I mean, one thing that you need to know about Willow's Weep is that for the longest time, I'm talking 4 years, I literally thought that the reason that I was supposed to keep going back there was the children's spirits.
Which could be
I'm
demonic.
kind of, what?
Which could be demonic.
Well, that's what I was getting ready to say to you.
Let's think alike.
Well, yeah, but I here's the thing. It really creeped me out because I thought I'm going to this location to communicate with the child spirits because they need somebody to play with them, and I'm so much like a kid. Like I have fun. I'm crazy. I make people laugh. I have I'm just telling you a little bit about me for those that don't know. Um, I do laugh so much. It's just I attract children. Children always stare at me in public. It's just, and imagine if they do in public in the spirit life, they would too. They'd be attracted to me. So I always, that was my one thing that I said, as evil as that house is, those children need me to go there. And they need me to come and entertain them and play with them. And I always got them to communicate with me. And I just felt like that was the one thing that I was doing that was good. Well, the Willow's Weep meet and greet, David York went with me. He used the Ghostbox, and he got one of the creepiest responses that I've heard. You know how sometimes you're not expecting things to say things, and then when they do, you don't know how you're going to react. Well, I can tell you that my whole entire body had chills on it, and I got sick. He asked a question, and it didn't answer his question, but it said, "Hi, I'm a child." And they were mocking children. And I knew as soon as I heard that there was no children in that house.
And you could tell by the way that was said, "Hi, I'm a child." Like you wouldn't have to address it. You're a child in a child's voice if you're not mocking it.
Thank you. And I knew with everything in me, there wasn't a single child in that house. That I was being manipulated. And it made me sick. It really
How'd you
did.
feel?
I was angry. I was angry. The next time that I went there, I took holy water with me. I was so angry at that house. I was so angry that they did that to me and that they manipulated me like that. And I literally, I screamed at them when I went back to the house. I went in the house alone. I didn't take anybody in there. I never go in Willow's Weep alone. Never. I did twice because I was so angry and I wanted answers. Why are you doing this to me? Because then I didn't know why I wanted to keep going back. I'm like, wait, if they're not children and I'm not helping someone, why am I being drawn back to this location over and over and over again? I mean, I haven't been there for 2 months or a month and a half. I don't know. It seems like forever. And I can't wait to go back. I mean, it's like I would do anything to just up and go there right now. That location calls me. And I thought that there was a reason before. And now I don't know the reason. And I hate not knowing, and it's like, You expect a place that you've investigated as many times as I've investigated that location. You would expect me to be closer and closer to knowing what is going on in the house. I don't even know for sure if it's suicide anymore. We've been getting so many EVPs that are leaning towards murder. So now I have even more questions than I ever had. The more I investigate it, the more questions I have. I'm like, wait, the more I investigate it, I feel like I should be getting closer. Mm-hmm. But I don't feel that way. I just feel like there's just more and more questions. But I still won't stay away. absolutely won't and can't stay away from that house. And I get so many people that are so worried about me, and I appreciate it so much. But, just like you smoke or you do whatever it is that you guys do, that puts your life at risk, well, this is my thing that I do. I don't smoke. I don't really drink that much. I don't do drugs.
We play with evil.
Well, I mean, it can be. That's the thing. You when you open yourself up, you never know if it is evil. And that's the thing. You're actually putting yourself at risk. But everybody that's listening right now can't argue with me. You put your own self at risk in your own way every day. I'm choosing to put myself at risk by doing what I love and what I have a passion for. So,
And if I was to die, like when I ended up in the hospital in Tennessee, after using the Ouija and summoning the demon and all that, I would have. That's how I'd want to go. If I'm going to go, I'd like to go doing what I love, and I love investigating.
and that's what I tried to tell people. Thank you for the concern, and I'm glad that you love me, but at least you would know that I'd go out doing what I loved and living my life to the fullest and not being held back by anything just because I was scared of what might happen. You have to listen to your gut. You have to listen to what your soul tells you that you need to do. And this is what my soul tells me that I need to do. So you guys just, don't worry about me, because just know I'm living life to the fullest. And if I die, I don't want any of you guys crying. I want you guys singing a song or doing something, because I'm fine. This is what I want to do. I've lived the first half of my life, doing everything by the book, and now it's time for me to do what I want to do, and I'm living life to the fullest.
The chains are off and you're ready to run, huh?
Yes, exactly.
Good. Good. So, Amy, why don't you just, I don't know, kind of just tell us a little bit more about maybe some. I got a question.
Yeah.
What do you consider? I'm trying to find the right words to say this. What would you consider to be paranormal activity? Like other than just, okay, let me try and I guess clear that up a little bit. Hearing a voice on the spirit box, right? Or the ghost box.
Right.
How would you define that as, okay, I am now with a spirit without using your body as a tool? Okay, I know you love to do that. But for all those people out there who just love using all this equipment, when would you define and state that, okay, we are now in present with the spirit? Because you do know that sometimes, depending on your location, the spirit box will pick up radio frequency, although it is scanning so fast that you're not going to actually hear a word. So when you hear a word that's relevant to what you're asking, would you then say, okay, we might have something here?
I can give you an instance. I mean, it's not a pleasant instance, so I don't know. Hopefully, you listeners will be okay with this. But I went to a house in Ohio, and I was actually doing a ghost box, and I didn't do any any kind of like put somebody in the corner. That's how I usually try to make sure that there's no manipulation. I'll put people in the corner with the ghost box on so they can't see things that are going on behind them, and I will get direct answers to cards and things like that. But since you said besides that, this will be the one instance that I actually did get. I was talking to a little girl, and she was answering questions to me, telling me that her dad abused her.
Now, this is a spirit, right? This is a...
Right.
Okay.
Right. This was through my ghost box.
Okay.
And she told me that he abused her mentally and physically, and even went into detail of how he would hurt her. The more she talked, the more angry I got, because I wanted to know why he did it. And she was just like a scared little girl. You could tell in her voice. I was getting direct answers from her, though. And she told me that her dad drank too much whiskey, and that's why he would.
That's a shame.
Well, come to find out, I didn't know this, because you listeners wouldn't know that I didn't know this. You're just going to have to take my word for it. After the session, I found a picture of the little girl with her dad on the front stairs with the bottle of whiskey. And I had no clue. They knew it when they heard it, because they heard me doing the ghost box session. But they actually went and got the picture and said, look, this matches exactly that little girl sitting on the stairs with her dad with the whiskey bottle. Well, that was pretty cool to me, but I wanted to go further. I wanted to talk to the girl. I wanted to help her. I asked the location if I could help her go over. Not me personally, but I knew that she needed saved, because he's still tormenting her. I could tell he was still tormenting her. While she was talking and giving me a very detailed story about the things that happened to her, He came through, and do you know what he said on the ghost box? Now, you
What?
cannot manipulate this at all. He clearly said, she wanted it.
So she wanted it as in she wanted to be beaten, she wanted to be hurt, she wanted to be all those things.
I'm thinking he meant more about the sexual.
I was gonna say the rape. Yeah, I was gonna say
That's
the
what
rape.
I took. It could have been all of it. But when he said that, I wanted to puke. And as soon as he said that, there was the most evil voice that came over the ghost box. It was so evil. I have only done this twice, and I use the ghost box on a regular basis. I took the headphones off my head and threw them clear across the room. It was the most evil voice, and that little girl never spoke again.
Where was this?
And I will not even tell you the location, but I was so angry that the location would not let the little girl be helped by somebody who said he could help her pass over, because they didn't want the spirits to leave the house so they could have it open for more investigation.
So they can make profit off of it, basically. So
Yes,
charge
and I mean, I don't down any locations. I will never name them, but I am going to tell you it made me sick to my stomach.
Where was it at?
And I couldn't stop thinking about this little girl. I never did. In fact, I went back to the location a year later. I said, you know what? I have a friend. If I can get in contact with her again, I asked him, can you help her pass over? I'm going to do it anyway. I never, ever made contact with her again. Never.
Why do
Not
you think
even
that? Did she pass over, or do you think that that this man is holding her? Basically,
the man is holding her. I'm telling you, he came over, said she wanted it. That evil voice came through. I threw the headphones, and I tried for hours after that to make contact with her again and never did. So to me, in my mind, there's no question about what happened to her, what's going on with her. I know. I just know. And to me, the ghost box was a tool. It wasn't my body. It wasn't anything else. It was just the ghost box. But I like I said, I had no idea that her dad was a drunk. I had no idea that she was abused. And just hearing the sadness and hurt in her voice, that's the one thing sometimes you're not expecting when you go into a location. You have to be prepared for anything. And I am very, I've always been very sensitive to children, elderly, anybody that's weak, sick, anything. I'm very, very vulnerable to them. I want to help them. And if I know they're hurting, I can feel their pain. I can feel all that. So it really, really, really affects me. So sometimes if I'm not prepared, and I wasn't prepared for that. It literally affected me for about a year until I went back.
So you didn't go into this location like you do the others, did you sit there and feel out the energy first?
Yes.
You did do all that, but you didn't really feel anything like that intense until you started communicating with the spirit box, with the ghost box, and it just kept getting deeper and deeper, and more of the storyline started coming through is when you really started getting affected. Or did you feel that bad energy right when you walked in?
I didn't feel it at all when I walked in.
No, it just happened once you started communicating and you kind of opened that up a little bit more.
Yes, that little girl obviously was feeling comfortable enough to talk to me.
And then he got upset about it.
Yes, and that's when he said she wanted it. I mean, it wasn't like, what was said? It was clear as day.
What if you just went in there and just, without the owners knowing, and saged it all? Or I wouldn't say, I don't know if sage really is the magic word there, but if you just go in and cleanse it, handle it.
Yeah, I have a friend that I've never personally met, but he said he does do over the phone cleansings, and he's who I was going to call that last time I went there. But like I said, I could not make communication with her again, and that's one thing about that I don't understand. How some of these places think, these haunted locations, they don't want the spirits to leave. But to me, if there's a child or somebody that desperately is asking for help or is being held against their will, I feel like the location should make an exception. The only problem was when I presented that to the location and asked them if they could please let me help the little girl pass over through the guy that I know who does over-the-phone cleansings out of Chicago. He said, you can't prove to me that there's a girl spirit here.
I was actually just going to say that.
Yes, he said, you can't prove to me that there's a girl spirit here. So I said, but you were here when that happened. He was there while I was the owner of the house, while I was doing the ghost box session. He had chills all over his entire body. He said he's never seen the ghost box used like that. The thing is, when I use a ghost box, I don't use it like everyone else. Everybody that I know will just have that out with a speaker. and then it goes really loud, and it's great for evidence. But if you want to hear just the words and you don't want all that static, I use Beats by Dre, and I've tried other headphones, and none of them work like my Beats by Dre, and it blocks out all that static. Those voices come through crisp and clean. So if you are really, really, really wanting to know an answer to something, more for yourself or for to help someone or help a location, these are the best things that you can use. Now, if you're trying to get evidence and you're trying to do all that, maybe not. But if you're trying to help someone or you really need an answer for yourself, they are perfect. And to me, I'm a personal paranormal investigator, so that's exactly what I want, is to use those. I learned early on when I started sharing evidence about 5 years ago that any evidence that you get in the paranormal, nothing's good enough. Because the truth is, if those people weren't there when you got the evidence, it will always be fake to them.
Yep, and it doesn't. It doesn't matter.
There is nothing that you can post. You may get some people that are fascinated with the paranormal that say, "Ooh, yes, that's definitely an orb. That's definitely a voice. I believe you. You're awesome." But you go get all the other teams that actually go out there and investigate. All they're going to do is tear you apart. Yep. It's like, wait a second. You're out there doing the same thing I'm doing. You're out there investigating just like me, and you're the first person that's going to think I'm faking stuff. I just, that doesn't make any sense to me.
And you can do it the same exact way that they do it, but it's fake. It don't matter. It wasn't me who did it, so it's fake, which doesn't make, I agree, it doesn't make any sense whatsoever to really, and yet there's para-unity out there, right?
Right. I mean,
they're the first ones to attack everybody.
You would think that those people would be the ones to know what really happens out there in the field, but instead, those are the ones that is going to be the first ones to tell you it's fake.
Yep. I've every time I post footage on Facebook, and I post a lot of footage, that's all I get from other investigators. I mean, some of them, that don't all do that, but there's always that one, and it's not always the same one, but it's always at least one person that's got to say something, and you look them up, and they happen to be a paranormal investigator, and it just blows my mind that that's what it's come down to.
And in my opinion, if I can help, say, well, that definitely wasn't paranormal, and I can show you why, okay, I'm going to speak up and let you know. But if all I'm going to do is say that's definitely faked, not give you a reason why or any, just basically say it's fake because you may have got better evidence than I got on my last investigation. It's like, wait a second. It doesn't make any sense to me.
Exactly.
So for me personally, I have stopped sharing evidence. I think maybe in 5 years, I've probably shared 12 things, 15, maybe, between 10 and 15 things. Only the top-notch stuff that I got. Because I got sick of people. I mean, literally, they would just tear it apart. And
they really do. And they actually, they just treat you like garbage. And then, I've even got personal attacks after, all because of evidence. It turns into that. So when I post evidence now, I usually just scroll down. Actually, half the time I don't even check the comments. I just let people go at it because I posted it for my reasonings. And if people want to badmouth it, let them. I'm already on to the next one. So they can spend time behind me while I'm already ahead of them doing what paranormal investigators do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which isn't bad-mouthing what other ones do. So that's why now whenever I post it, I'm on to the next. I post that, I'm on to the next. I don't really even look back anymore. Yep. So I've learned that works for me. Out of sight, out of mind. Do what you do, and that's it. You seem to do what you do, and you're pretty well at it. I could tell by how many people love you. So,
and well, how many people love me. A lot of those people have investigated with me. I mean, I have over the years investigated with quite a few people, and I just give them a different perspective on things. Me going to so many places in such a short time, it's really opened my eyes to a lot of things, and I just wanted to let other people experience that with me, and so when they go to these places with me, they can't believe it. I mean, I did a Ghostbox session at Rhodes Hotel 2 weeks ago. I took a group of 8 or 9 people, and we did the thing, where we, I was facing out into the hallway, and everybody was behind me. And we get direct questions answered. I mean, there's no way you can manipulate it. People are witnessing that there's no way to manipulate it. But yet there's still people out there that will tell you the ghost box is a piece of trash. There's no way it can work. I mean, No, I wouldn't just be going around locations using the ghost box, getting nothing, and saying it's my favorite piece of equipment. You know, so
Exactly. I actually had my last name Ercantello come over on the spirit box before, and they're like, "Well, that's radio. How often on any radio station do you hear Ercantello
exactly.
ever come through?" You know, and for somebody to just say that, that kind of blew me away too. So, but there's always going to be skeptics, you know, because this isn't a factual field,
Right.
unfortunately. And that's just what it comes down to, you know. It's the whole seeing is believing, or being there is believing. And but I kind of love what you do. I do like the fact that you go do these investigations, these group tours and investigations, basically overnight, and you give these people something to remember forever.
Yes. Yes.
You know, not necessarily do they have to. You have to have your cameras, and I'm sure they can bring their own cameras if they want, their own devices, you know, to videotape for their own pleasure. But they don't even have to, because they're just experiencing something. And a lot of people, I think, need to go out there and do that. There's a lot of skeptics out there that I have noticed that I have invited personally to come to an investigation with me. And they say they will, but then they bail right at the last minute. Now, if they're so skeptical and I'm giving them the option for free, travel, hotel, everything is for free, I don't understand why they're not, because that's their moment to say, I'm right, you're wrong. You know, that's their moment to really be put in the moment and feel it for yourself, because you really can't. You know, you could watch it on TV all day long, you could watch a million YouTube videos, you're not going to really feel it until you step foot in total darkness inside of a crazy jail or a insane asylum or a hotel or anything that you know is haunted.
Right. And that's what I'm for, just so you listeners out there understand. Not everybody has a group, and you have to be very choosy and picky if you ever do decide that you want to create a group. You can't just put four people together not knowing anything about how they feel about anything and just say, we're a group. It doesn't work like that. What you need is to, you know, if you're interested in the paranormal, go find people like me that do events, experience it, then decide how you want to go about it, and interview the people that you want into your group, because it's very important. If you pick the wrong people, it's going to be a disaster. You have got to make sure that they are similar feelings involved, you know, that you guys have similar visions and how you feel about the paranormal, and you have to mesh well, because otherwise it's going to end disastrous. There's only very few teams in the paranormal over the last 5.5 years that I know of that are still together right now that were together 5.5 years ago. I can only probably name maybe 3 off the top of my head. And that's really not a lot. I mean, so, you know, you can use me and go on an investigation with me and use me as a stepping stone. I can help you, you know, reach out to other people, out to other groups, people in your area. That's what it's all about. When I say paranormal love, that's what it is to me. It's me helping you get to where you need to be, and also experiencing things with me, my way, and helping you. You know, that's what it's all about.
Yeah, of course. And you know, like anybody that, and that's good advice, because I know when I first started, a year and a half, 2 years ago, maybe, I've always been in the paranormal. I'm not gonna talk long about this, because I know that I'll talk about more later on another show. But I didn't do that. You know, there was nobody really here in Florida to do that with. And when I asked to be on another team and join their investigation, they said that they're full and no and this and that, which kind of put a damper on things. So I said, okay, I'm just going to do it myself. What's the harm in that, right? And that was it. I wouldn't say it was a mistake, because it really intrigued me when I went in not knowing what I was doing and capturing stuff that I knew wasn't there. And that probably was the beginning when I knew, well, I knew when I was a kid, you know, growing up, but the first investigation I decided to do on my own. And I'm just hearing things coming out of nowhere, being touched. That really took it to another level for me. And ever since then, I've just been going, and just learning every single day something new I can do. So to have somebody like you out there that offers that is amazing. I think people should take up on that opportunity, even if you don't want to be a paranormal investigator and you just want to try it out just to see what it's like. you might go, join Amy and then realize, wow, this is my calling. This is what I want
Or
to
it's
do.
not. A lot of people can use me to make sure that that's what they want.
Exactly.
Because they may come into it. I've had people their first time, they thought that they could do it. They come in with me and they're like, oh no, I can't do this.
Mm-hmm.
And then, but it's a lot better if you know that ahead of time. So
Mm-hmm.
if it's something you're curious about, this is the way to do it. You
Mm-hmm.
come to an event like this, try it out, and then decide where you want to go from there. Some people actually, I have a very large group of people that will just come to my events. They don't have any group. They literally just keep an eye out for events in the area. I have many people that'll show up randomly at all my events. They never have, they never have had a group. They just like to come to my events. So I actually had a random guy, which I don't know what happened to him, but one time he dropped off a suitcase full of equipment, and I contacted him and told him that he left his equipment. And he said, I'll get it from you at your next event. And I've never heard from him or seen him again. And I still have a suitcase full of equipment.
And you still have it in your house right now?
I still have it. And then he also said that he wanted a hotel. And I told him he had to go to the Flamingo down the street. And because he wanted his wife and his daughter to be able to have a place to sleep. He came back, set up a deer cam, came back at 3 o'clock in the morning, took the deer cam, and left. And I have not seen or heard from him again.
That's
So there are some
that's
really crazy people.
that's really weird. That's so. That's really
I know.
decent.
Everybody was like, I sure wish I knew he had a deer cam set up in that room because nobody knew. And we're like, now he has random pictures of us. But that does not normally happen. This was just a very strange thing. I still scratch my head trying to figure out why he left all that equipment. Some of it was still in the package, new.
That doesn't make any sense.
No. I attract weirdos sometimes.
Yeah, all the time, like 98%.
It's not true.
97.
2%.
All right, Amy, I think we're going to kind of wrap this up a little bit.
Okay.
And I know we were having some audio issues throughout this whole entire evening. So I want to apologize for that, for everybody who could not tune in, who could not hear anything going on or in and out. It has been recorded, and we will post this as well in a couple days or tomorrow. So whoever did not tune in can still tune in, which you probably can't hear me now if your audio is out, and you're not going to know till you see it anyways. But anyways, is there anything else that you kind of want to just touch base on? Maybe, again, remind everybody about the event coming up Saturday if they want to join.
What was that last part?
The event on Saturday.
Yeah, there's still openings. You can join. $25. You don't even need to prepay. Just show up.
Perfect. And it's a haunted school, which is always a plus. Like I said, creepy kids, ghost kids, they're terrifying to me. So if they're terrifying to you, definitely go. Check it out. And play peekaboo with the one that Amy said she saw at the beginning of the show.
Yeah, and there's a guy in the hallway.
The 7-foot.
He likes to talk on the Ghostbox.
There you go. Your favorite tool. Perfect reason to go. All right. And you can
Thank you.
You're very welcome. And everybody else listening, you can also tune in to Amy Jo on her like page on Facebook. And other than that, I'm going to say goodnight to everybody. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for being on chat. I apologize again for the sound situation. We're going to get that fixed. And everybody have a good night. Thank you, Amy, for coming on. I love having you on here.
Thank you. Have a good night.
You too. Good night.